Today on Commander Replay, Akiri and Silas team up to power up the robot factory. Can the unstoppable robot army defeat Xenagos, Ramos, and Kalia? Find out next on Commander Replay. Alright, welcome back everyone, playing some 4-color Robot Factory combo. We've got a pretty good opening hand right here. We've got lands and Mana Crypt, which I like, so we'll go ahead and keep that. We got some fairly nasty opponents that we're facing, which I don't love. There's a Xenagos, a Ramos, and a Kalia. Our deck does not handle super aggro decks really well, and we're looking at 2 of those with Xenagos and Kalia. Hopefully the Ramos opponent has a ton of board wipes. There's a Fabricate. Fabricate's good. I'm going to play the Mana Confluence right here. Do we Mana Crypt and Fabricate this turn? I'm not sure. The other thing I did think about doing, but I don't think this is the right plan, is Mana Crypt, Phyrexian Metamorph copying Mana Crypt. That'll give us a ton of mana, but most of it's colorless, and that does make us liable to lose up to 6 life. And I don't know that we'll be able to kill fast enough to replace that. So I think in the meantime, yeah, I think we lay down the Mana Crypt. We'll cast the Fabricate. There's many choices that we could go for. What's our land counter? Our mana count is 3. I think I'm going to go for Panharmonicon. Doesn't synergize with anything in our hand, but I suspect that we'll draw into something sooner rather than later. Sorcerer's Spyglass. Look at opponent's hand, then choose any card name. Ramos is the best thing that I could see to choose. Preventing Ramos from being able to activate their mana abilities seems really powerful. Opponent chooses Sorcerer's Spyglass with the Sorcerer's Spyglass. That seems like it's not going to do a whole lot for them. Cold Steel Heart for the Kalia. That's not good. That means Kalia is going to come down next turn, most likely. Back to our turn, we get a Mana Crypt trigger. We'll go Tails. And we lost the flip. Here's a Thran Dynamo. Pay the life, get the Hollowed Fountain into play, and we're going to cast the Thran Dynamo. Yeah, next turn we can just lay down the Sharding Sphinx. Sounds good to me. Opponent destroys target artifact or enchantment, destroys their own Sorcerer's Spyglass. Well, that's just got me scratching my head. They gain 2 life. Yisan Wanderer Bard coming down. That's a pretty powerful magic card. We could theoretically copy it, although we'd have to tick it up a couple times before we'd start getting the creatures that matter. And most of our creatures are in the 4, 5, and 6 range. Although we do have 3. There is something at 3. Lightning Greaves are also sweet. Something we could potentially copy with the Metamorph. Back to our turn. We get another Mana Crypt flip. We get a Godless Shrine. I want to get the Sharding Sphinx into play. So Sharding Sphinx is down. We have 1 colorless floating. I guess we play the Watery Grave tapped. And pass the turn. Thran Dynamo for the Xenagos opponent. Chromatic Lantern for our opponent. Seems good. So here comes Kalia, and opponent's got boots, so it's probably about to be attacking. Always gotta hope that they don't have Rakdos in hand, because that's a big problem. We know that Kalia shouldn't attack into us just because we have the Sharding Sphinx, which is nice. They will lose their Kalia if they do. But they could send the whatever creature they cheat down into us, and that's a different story. But we have the Phyrexian Metamorph, so there's a chance that we could get something cool to copy. So Kalia swinging into the Ramos opponent, and they're going to get to cheat their creature, cheat an Angel, Demon, or Dragon into play from their hand. Which one is it? It is a Balefire Dragon. Woo-hoo! That's a big one. That is a big one. So Balefire is going to hit, and it's going to trigger, killing the Yisan. Opponent's going to activate the Yisan one time. It's a 5-color deck, so there's a lot of things that they could go get. It's a Birds of Paradise. Yeah, if they did that beforehand, the Birds of Paradise could have blocked the Balefire Dragon, and they would not have to have lost all their creatures. But back to our turn, we get a Mana Crypt trigger. There's a Teferi's Protection. That's helpful. Oh man, I'm so torn between attacking Kalia and attacking Xenagos. Do we try to go at the person who's in the lead, or do we just gang up on one of the weaker opponents? I'm not exactly sure. I don't feel like the Balefire Dragon is worth copying just because it's kind of slow. If we had haste somehow, then I would copy it because then it would kill the Balefire Dragon and the Kalia, and that'd be good. But since we don't have that, I'm not as sold on that actually being a thing. I think we attack the Xenagos right here. That'll give us the 1/1 Thopter. I don't feel confident that we can really go at the Kalia opponent right now. So we get a 1/1 Thopter, which protects us from the Balefire Dragon. Doesn't protect us from other horrible things that could happen, but does protect us specifically from Balefire Dragon. So we get a 1/1 Thopter. Sounds good to me. We need to leave up a white mana for the Teferi's Protection. I do want to get our commander into play. we're going to play the Akiri Lineslinger. The reason that I'm not going to play Silas Wren is that if someone plays a Vandal Blast, we're only going to have a couple lands out, and we'll need to cast Silas Wren with very little mana open. And if Silas Wren comes in and then dies, then it's going to be 5 mana, which is really expensive to get him back into play. So I like keeping him at 3 converted mana costs for when things start to go wrong. And in the meantime, I'm going to play this Marsh Flats. And then we'll just pass the turn, leave up to Fairy's Protection in case someone has a board wipe. There's a charging Monstrosaur. Personally, I just would have slammed Xenagos, but that's just me. Opponent decides not to attack with the charging Monstrosaur. Yeah, I would have went for Xenagos on that turn. It's much more durable, and then you play any creature afterwards, and it gets huge. So Xenagos opponent doesn't seem like they are highly skilled. Possibly new to the game. Farhaven Elf coming down. I mean, if you ask me if I would copy that Farhaven Elf with Phyrexian Metamorph and a Panharmonicon, the answer is maybe. If it was a Muldrifter, definitely. There's not a lot of basics in this deck, so that's the one thing keeping me from doing that. I'm also hoping to get a little bit lucky that Kalia is going to play something cool with an ETB ability that we can copy and then get a second copy of with the Panharmonicon. That'd be the dream scenario. Opponent's going to hardcast a Harvester of Souls. Okay. Copying the Harvester wouldn't be the worst thing with Phyrexian Metamorph, just because if someone plays a board wipe after that, we'll get to draw a lot of cards, which I like. And that's kind of what this deck needs. Lots and lots of card draw. Opponent's going to play Destructive Revelry, destroying the Lightning Greaves for the Kalia opponent. Sounds good to me. Opponent did not move the Greaves over to the Harvester, like you might have expected. Probably a misplay on their part, or they just really want to keep Kalia alive, so maybe not. That's a tough decision. Do you move the boots off of Kalia to give something else haste at the risk of losing Kalia? Ramos does have open mana also, so Kalia is now exposed. We also have open mana, though. We don't have any spot removal. So our plan worked the way we wanted it to. Kalia opponent is not attacking us, which is the most important thing right now. That's an Avacyn. Avacyn's real tough to deal with. Also worth copying. So Xenagos taking a real big hit right here. And going to get hit by the Balefire trigger, losing their charging Monstrosaur. Yeah, that's why I would have played the Xenagos last turn. And Kalia is going to get to draw a card with the Harvester of Souls. It's going to be really hard to get through the Kalia with Avacyn out. There is a very limited number of ways to deal with Avacyn. And more so, dealing with an entire board full of creatures when Avacyn's out. Well, that's one way to start. That's an utter end to exile the Avacyn, so that's good news. I did want to copy the Avacyn, but I think it's better that opponent probably doesn't have it. So back to our turn, we're going to get a Mana Crypt trigger. Could really win this one. We're down to 28 already. It's still fairly early. We lost the flip, going to 25. There's a Sculpting Steel. Interesting. Very interesting. I think I'm going to go Phyrexian Metamorph, copying the Harvester of Souls. Then Sculpting Steel, copying the Phyrexian Metamorph. Actually, we could also copy the Sharding Sphinx. And then we would get a ton of 1/1 Thopter tokens. You know what? That actually sounds like a lot of fun. So I think we should do that. Although, so Harvester is non-token creatures. Ooh, man, I really want a Harvester in case someone plays a board wipe. Well, if someone plays a board wipe, we're going to play Teferi's Protection, so we're not necessarily going to draw. Because our creatures will be out of play when everything dies. Okay, so because of that, we go Panharmonicon. We go Phyrexian Metamorph. We do need to leave up Teferi's Protection, so we may not be able to do this all in one turn. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do this all in one turn, unfortunately. Should have waited on Panharmonicon. Actually, maybe we can. We have a Godless Shrine. Play the Godless Shrine. Into play. Untapped. Pay the life. Crack the Marsh Flats. We have any red mana? We have very little red mana. We have... Yeah, let's get the Plateau right here. We'll play the Phyrexian Metamorph. Actually, you know what? We'll go with Sculpting Steel first, because Phyrexian Metamorph... Sculpting Steel is more narrow, and because our life total's already getting low, I don't necessarily want to have to pay the Phyrexian mana. So, copy Sharding Sphinx. So we have 2 copies of Sharding Sphinx. And now we're going to start swinging into the Kalia opponent. This should help our opponents breathe a sigh of relief. Make sure Akiri's big enough to take down the Harvester. And yeah, we got our Sharding Sphinx. We'll get a bunch of tokens off that. So we're going to get 2 Sharding Sphinx triggers. And now we're starting to build a little army of Thopters, which I like. So we'll pass the turn. And Akiri Lineslinger gets a little bigger. Kalia is down to 28 and 6 commander. Opponent's going to play a Wheel of Fortune. Well, because of that, we are going to play our Teferi's Protection. So our stuff will be safe until it comes back to our turn, and that's a good feeling. We do lose the Phyrexian Metamorph, which is unfortunate, but hopefully we can draw into something that's going to work really well with this Panharmonicon. Well, we got a Trophy Mage. Trophy Mage is a thing. We've got Reverse Engineer to draw more cards. The Adjudicator is actually not going to be too bad. We do need to untap with it, which will take a little while. As the game's starting to go a little bit longer, and we have pretty good mana going with our mana rocks out. So if we can start untapping with Adjudicator, we can start shooting down Kalia's stuff, and that's exactly where we want to be. Farseek for the Ramos opponent. Oh, that's an Aurelia the War Leader. All right, so we are in need of some removal. And unfortunately, I don't feel great about having to burn our Teferi's protection right there because I really did want to save that. Do a quick little check on our deck real quick to see what we can get with that Trophy Mage. Sculpting Seal's already gone. We could get Mimic Vat. It's not a bad choice. Rings of Bright Hearth, definitely good. So Mimic Vat and Rings of Bright Hearth are probably the two best things. Burnished Heart is meh at this point. Also, there's not a lot of lands in our deck. And Foundry Inspector is also meh at this point. So let's check in on our opponent's attack. So they're going to get a second combat step with Aurelia. Stacked it kind of out of order in case their creature had haste. It's unlikely, but sometimes it matters. Well, there's an Akroma, so Akroma won't get to untap. So in that case, it did matter. That Akroma is not great news for us. We do have a lot of blue things in play, so that's not too bad, but it could be problematic. There is some red and black stuff in here. Lightning Greaves would make life really good. I'm not even sure if it's in the deck, honestly, but it would be really good. We could get this Aethersworn Adjudicator down and immediately blow up that Akroma or anything else that is bothering us. So opponent's going to get another combat step, and Xenagos is already down to 5, so they're probably about to be out of the game. See how opponent attacks here. If they leave some room for us to get in with the flyers, we'll be able to make a lot of tokens. Yes. Yes. Nice, sending everything at Ramos. Hopefully Ramos has a little bit of spot removal that they're hanging on to. That'd be nice. A Comeuppance would also be a blowout against the Kalia. Let's see what they got. Hopefully something. Kalia is going to get to cheat down another creature. Oh, that's a Rhea. Yep, all the hits. These are basically most of the creatures I want to see when I'm playing Magic. Sadly, when I play Kalia gets shot down very quickly, and then things just aren't that good. So Ramos tap. Ooh, that's a Cyclonic Rift. Nice. Nice. And our Teferi's protection. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, on our turn, I am definitely going to blast the Kalia opponent. And they're probably out of the game because that's such a big tempo loss for them. Now, we do need to make sure that we don't lose to Ramos, which is a thing that can happen pretty easily. But, oh, that's such a huge play. Yep, that is the problem with Kalia. Kalia does one thing really well, but is basically weak against most forms of interaction. Kalia is a deck that really wants opponents to not be non-interactive. And an opponent's got to discard to hand size. Even better. So Harvester of Souls going down, Akroma going down. The first thing they'll go for is probably the Rhea in that case. Oh, that's so awesome. Back to our turn. Our stuff phases in. We get another Mana Crypt trigger. Our life is dwindling down. Got to start winning these flips. I'm going to go heads right here. Won the flip, finally. There's an Ethereum Sculptor. Meh, not really what I'm looking for. Let's get this Trophy Mage down. Trophy Mage is going to trigger twice because of the Panharmonicon. So get the Rings of Bright Hearth. And get the Mimic Vat. Man, I want to get the Adjudicator down, but opponents don't really have any creatures in play yet. Although, that does give us the ability to get rid of Ramos. So, yeah, maybe we should focus on getting the Adjudicator down. So, bring in the Adjudicator. And we're going to crack this Misty. We're going to have to find a dual land because our life is getting really low. There's a Tundra. Tundra sounds good. Lose a little more life on the Mana Confluence to this player Mimic Vat. Mimic Vat will be good in case someone plays a board wipe. That means we can at least pick something and try to get some value out of it. Wow, Akiri's got 10 power. That is sweet. I think we got to send a little bit into the Ramos because they are going to be the next threat on board. And we should get a lot of tokens from this. Yep, that's a lot of Sharding Sphinx tokens. So copying Sharding Sphinx, a really good idea. Auto that ability. Oh, yes, so many tokens. Wow, cloning Sharding Sphinx is really cool. So we just got to fade the board wipes. That's all we got to do. And Akiri's up to 20 power. Thran Dynamo for the Xenagos opponent. Xenagos coming into play. Yep, crossing our fingers for this turn. We just need to hold out against this Ramos. Hope they burned all the removal on Kalia. Opponent's going to transmute a Dimir House Guard. Ooh, that's going to be a board wipe. Well, this game's going to go long then. This game's going to go very long. Yep, there's the Day of Judgment. So all of our beautiful tokens going to go away. At least it wasn't a Vandal Blast. I think the Adjudicator is the one we want because that gives us some removal, which seems very relevant against Kalia and Ramos. Does Mimic Vat also hit artifacts? Whenever another non-token creature dies. Oh, because the, interesting. So Adjudicator's under there. We're going to click no on all the other ones. Because the Sculpting Steel was a creature when it died, Mimic Vat was saying that it was a legal target, which it's probably not supposed to be because it is no longer a creature, but at the time it was. Oh, but that copied Sharding Sphinx was so cool. Man, I wish that stuck around. Grim Tutor for the Ramos. That's not good. They're down to 3 cards. It might just be card draw, but even card draw is a problem because now the game's stalled out quite a bit. Kalia can rebuild somewhat quickly, though we have the ability to keep them in check. Something like an Aura Shards or a Vandal Blast could also be a really big problem. So Ramos is tapped out, goes down to 21. Life totals are starting to dwindle now. It's getting pretty late into this game. Kalia coming back into play. And a Felwar Stone. Back to our turn. Another Mana Crypt flip. Need to win this one. I want to go heads again. Lost the flip. Ugh, down to 16. There's an All Is Dust. Nothing worth All Is Dusting right now. Let's get the Rings of Bright Hearth in. So we would need 3 to activate our Mimic Vat, and then 3 more to activate the Either Sworn Adjudicator, and then 2 more to copy that ability, which would give us the ability to shoot down 2 creatures. So that's a total of 8 mana. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have exactly 8 in play right now. I could have sequenced this turn a little bit better. I think we need to get Silas Wren into play. Yep, get Silas Wren into play. And that means we need to play the Windswept Heath. So that's 3 to activate, and then we'll need 3 more to activate the ability. So we'll need to play the Windswept Heath and pass the turn. So Xenagos just passes. Xenagos scoops it up. Yeah, they were about due to scoop. This game has been over their head for quite some time. Ramos coming into play. Opponent's going to play Ramanop Excavator. Get some counters on Ramos. We will pass the turn. Man, do we let Kalia... I don't think we can let Kalia attack. Man, I'm pretty nervous. Like, our deck is just janky enough that we might be able to pull this out. I'm worried about the Ramos. Kalia's playing... Ooh, exile all artifacts, you say. That is a big problem. Ooh, that's going to hit us so hard. So we're going to play... We're going to use our Mimic Vat ability. Unfortunately, don't have the mana to copy all of this stuff. Yeah, a card like that are things that we need to watch out for. So many things on the stack right now. Rings of Bright Hearth we cannot pay for. We get a Scrubland. Can't pay for the rings. We get a copy of the Aethersworn Adjudicator. And now we need to shoot down the Kalia. And then we get crushed by this Merciless Eviction. And we'll get rid of Ramos at least. Should slow down the Ramos opponent. Oh, man. We had so much cool stuff going on in this game that's just been wiped away with board wipes. Merciless Eviction's the worst because everything's in exile. And yeah, we can't get that back with Silas. So pretty annoying there. Anyway, I think we play the Ethereum Sculptor and then play Silas. Then we are 1 short of improvising the Reverse Engineer. So we will play the Steam Vent. Did we already? Yeah, Akiri was already in play once, so Akiri will cost 4. So we'll play the Steam Vents tapped and pass the turn. Mana Vault for the Ramos. All right, so unfortunately, Kalia had to get ejected from the game. So now it's just us versus Ramos. This all happened right as Ramos is during their turn, so they're going to get a chance to course correct pretty well, at least significantly better than we will. And that's a Mirari's Wake. Ugh. I mean, Mirari's Wake by itself was enough to make me play this All Is Dust, but I know that we probably need to save it. Unfortunately, All Is Dust isn't going to kill Ramos, which is a little bit scary. That's a Scarab God. That's also a problem. Yeah, probably this turn's going to be all about All Is Dust. Opponent Scarab Gods their Yisan back to play. And gets a Wayfarer's Bauble. There's a Sphinx Summoner. Enters the battlefield, may search your library for an artifact creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. We can attack with the Silas Wren, the Scarab God. Crap, Scarab God's going to get to exile something. I'd prefer they didn't exile our Sharding Sphinx, but that's probably what's going to happen. Yeah, We just swing in with the Silas Ren. See if they block. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they just decide to take it. And this is not going to work at all the way I want it to. Opponent's going to exile the Dauntless Escort. Nice. Oh, they're not exiling our stuff. That's amazing. It's going to sack the Dauntless Escort, make everything indestructible. Sure. Our commander goes down. We're going to lay down the All is Dust. 6 and 7. All is Dust. Ooh, opponent's only got one card left. Unfortunately, they will get Scarab God back. And Scarab God can win the game by itself. Which is kind of a problem. Play the Vivid Creek and pass the turn. We need to go do a little check on our library, see what this Sphinx Summoner can get for us. Steel Hellkite is a thing. Myr Battlesphere is pretty sweet. Noxious Gear Hulk kills things, gains us life. It's probably looking at like Noxious Gear Hulk, Combustible Gear. Ooh, Sharoom, huh? Metalwork Colossus. Metalwork Colossus probably is the one we want, but Sharoom won't be great against the Scarab God because they can exile our stuff. Valdakan Engineer is not what we needed. That makes us one short of being able to Sphinx Summoner and get a 6-drop. Well, I think we still got a Sphinx Summoner. Get Sphinx Summoner. Steel Hellkite is pretty sweet. Sharoom, not going to be great here. Myr Battlesphere is reasonable. Oh, Duplicant. Duplicant, you say? Yeah, I think we got to get Duplicant. Opponent's going to know that it's coming, but still better than nothing. And then with our 5 mana, I think we reverse engineer. So crack this Flooded Strand. Hopefully there's things left to find. Yeah, there should be an island or two floating around. Ugh, our life total's getting down there. Finally use this reverse. Oh, opponent's going to be able to haste stuff in with the Scarab God. How much mana does he have? I think he can get one creature off of the Scarab God ability this turn. We draw Inventor's Fair, land, Expedition Map. Ugh, not helpful. Yep, opponent gets a copy of our Sharding Sphinx. That's bad news. And they can basically exile any creatures in our graveyard. Ugh, Metamorph. Yeah, we're in a bad spot now. Ugin off the top? I think we gotta take it and just try to get lucky. So opponent gets a token. There's a Glen Elendra. That's going to make things really difficult for us. It does still mean that we can get down our Duplicant. Non-creature. Duplicant is a creature. Should be okay there. A lot of flyers, though. So exile the Scarab God. Although it's already done its damage. Opponent gets their Dimir Houseguard. Yeah, that'll probably be enough. So Scarab God gets exiled. Oh, opponent sacrificed their Scarab God. Yeah. Alright. Do we have any way to force enough damage through? Not really. Play the Inventor's Fair. We're just going to die on our opponent's next turn, so I'm going to scoop it up right here. Oh, so close. We had so many things going on. Combustible Gear Hulk 2 turns away. That's the one that I thought about going for. With Panharmonicon down, it's really good. Because there's enough big things in the deck that take the damage. There's a chance that they just lose because there's a lot of 6-drops. But yeah. Oh, it's so disappointing. So many cool things going on. This deck is tough to operate. It's very dirtily, so it is tough to get to a place where you have time to land everything and kind of get all your shenanigans going. We had some really cool stuff going on with the Sharding Sphinx and the copy and making a bunch of tokens, and that all got wiped away in a board wipe. The thing that's so hard to get into this deck, I really just need like a couple counter spells in here. Maybe like Counterspell, Negate, Mana Drain, anything like that. Just a couple to protect our stuff. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.